Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So we've been talking about acquisition managers a little, and I had a great question, which is, if I'm not wholesaling a property, how do I pay the acquisitions manager? So just to recap, most acquisitions managers are going to get somewhere between 10 and 15% of, I'm looking for someplace quiet to go, 10 and 15% of the net profit on a deal. And on a wholesale deal, that's relatively quick, although obviously in New York it takes longer than any other place. I wonder if there's some quiet room I can go into. But the question is, if you're not wholesaling, then how does it work, right? If you're keeping it for longer. So if you are wholesaling it, or if you're holding it to rent. Oh, I found a quiet place. If you're holding it to rent, then how do you pay the acquisitions manager? So this is really something that's specific to whatever you're going to do with it and your acquisitions manager, and also your speed, how long it takes. So I've seen people who really rehab quickly, where they basically told their acquisitions manager, the light's better this way, they basically told their acquisitions manager, that we're going to rehab really fast and you're going to get paid the same percentage when we rehab. Now, usually you're going to make more money rehabbing than you are wholesaling. Usually, not always, and there's a lot of risks in rehabbing, and that's one of the things. Some acquisitions managers, and it depends on your volume also, are going to be okay with the risk that you may rehab and something gets screwed up, right? Your price was messed up, or you missed some work that needed to be done and you need to do that work, and maybe you over-improve, whatever the hell happens. Or something new comes up during construction that you didn't count on. This happened to me a lot. And then the price was more, and then maybe the cost of construction was more, and therefore the profit's less. So I've seen a few different methods. Some people, when they close, they'll pay the acquisitions manager something, and then when they close on the purchase, they'll pay the acquisitions manager something, and then they'll pay them, let's say, the remainder of their commission, whatever is negotiated after the property sells. Now, again, if your acquisition manager is getting you a property and you're going to rehab it, you're probably going to make a lot more money than if you would wholesale it. So you have to figure out, do I want to pay the same commission structure? Do I want to pay less? How do I want to work it? And I've seen people who say flat fee just flat fee, so there's no risk. Now, understand, if the acquisition manager is getting a percentage of the net, as they are on a wholesale, then there is the risk that we discussed, that maybe there is no net, right? Maybe you lose money. Sometimes you rehab property, you have to do more, you didn't count on it, you didn't realize there was foundation problems, you didn't realize there were crazy plumbing issues, or the municipality comes down on you and says you have to do X, Y, and Z when you thought you had to do much less. Sometimes you take that risk. So sometimes the acquisition manager says, yeah, I'm willing to make more money and I'll take the risk. And some acquisitions managers are like, listen, it takes you 7 months. In my area, it could take a year to rehab a property. So you may want to get an upfront fee, and there's no risk, right? I get paid whatever it is, fat fee, $5,000, whatever, $10,000, whatever the number is. And then the operator, the owner, is going to take the risk of making money or not making money. So I've seen hybrid, where they pay him some, they pay him after. I've seen complete flat fee. So for rental properties, it's pretty much always got to be flat fee, right? Because you're not going to start figuring out every time you get a rent check that you got to pay your acquisitions manager on it. So I've seen flat fee. I've seen a lot of guys pay, $3,000 straight up when we buy a rental and put it into the portfolio. And I've seen places where an acquisition manager was responsible for property management too, which probably not the best idea. But then they had a situation where they were going to pay them a property management fee and they could pay them less. But it's really depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how much volume you're doing, how much more money you expect to make on a rehab versus a wholesale, how quickly you usually rehab, what kind of risks you have when you rehab. So, some people take on massive rehabs, some people take on smaller rehabs, and the risk tolerance of your acquisition manager, right, where he may say, I'll roll the dice because I think you're going to make 5 times. I think if we wholesale, we'll make 10, but if we rehab, we'll make 50. If you're going to pay me 10%, it's $1,000 on the wholesale, but it's $5,000 on that, so I'll roll the dice because I figure you'll make at least 20, and that's twice as much. It really depends on a lot of different things, and you have to negotiate it, right? And it depends on your business mix too, right? There are guys who are just closers; they just want to close. I just want to close. I don't care, and those are the guys you want as your acquisitions managers, the guys who really know how to close and know how to do it. And some of those guys have higher risk tolerance, some guys don't, but it depends on your business, right? If you're doing, I know there are a couple of guys doing 40, 50 rehabs at a time. So for them, it's constant, right? So after the first few months, there's constantly rehab deals that are getting sold to the retail public. And then if you're paying your acquisition manager on, that's fine. But there are companies that do, 4 rehabs a year. And they may take 6 months to do a rehab. And then an acquisition manager will be like, I don't want to wait for 6 months. So I want to get paid sooner, right? And maybe I'll take less than what I think than the projected if I get it now. But again, everybody is different. Every situation is different. Every business is different. Every acquisition manager is going to be different. Every business is different. The time it takes to rehab. There are places. Somebody was just telling me, guys in New Jersey he's a television producer at the conference I'm in now. He's got this couple in Union County. They turn a property around in 24 hours. 24 hours. I'm sure they're doing very light cosmetic work, but still, that's shocking. And he's producing a television show with them. That's amazing. 24-hour flips, I think it's called, something like that. So, and there are guys who do I know guys up in California that do major work. It could take 2 years. It could take 7 months just for the soft cost, for the architecture and the permitting, all that stuff. And then it's another year and a half of work. Most guys aren't going to wait that long. So it's something that's going to be negotiated between you and the acquisition manager. There is no set way to do it, but there's always a way to make it work where the AM has, again, you have to be happy as the owner, and the AM has to be happy as the employee. Or as a salesperson. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com or learntoflipandwholesale.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help all the algorithms. A lot more people have been watching my videos. Thank you. This came from a question. So please ask me any questions you have. I post 5 times a week. I missed one day. I'm going to post the second one today. I very rarely know what the hell to talk about. Your questions give me the topics to discuss, and it lets me do what this whole channel is designed for, which is to answer your questions. Your question does not have to have anything to do with the video you're watching. It can be about anything. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I have not covered, if I have something I've covered recently, I'll just send you a link to the videos. And if it's something I haven't covered in a long time or I haven't covered ever, I will do a brand new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.